Hello everyone. Today I want to show you how to make this Ombre beaded Kumihimo bracelet, and this is in the example that I have here. So I've just used two colours, so a light blue and a darker blue, to achieve this effect, this nice look here. So what we need to achieve here is this kind of gradient effect between the colours, but where they blend nicely together, but you also have the two different colours. So you end up with this kind of ombre look to it. So that's what we're going to learn, this technique, but you can obviously use whatever colours you want to, and you can also use more than two colours only. So you can, for example, make each section here a different colour. That completely depends on what you want. And also this bracelet has turned out to be roughly about 7 inches long. Obviously that will depend on what clasp you want to add, as different clasps will add different lengths to it as well. That's why I personally prefer to use these extender chains. But you can obviously use whatever you want to. So if you want to learn how to make this, then keep watching. So these are the materials that we're going to need. Now what I have here is my round Kumihimo disc because we're making a round braid. And then the cord that I'm using in this case is a 0.4mm Eslon. And I just got this nice blue colour to be a nice background colour for the beads that I'm using, just in case you can see any other cord. So you can match whatever cord to your beads that you're using. And as for the beads, in this case I'm using some 8-ohm UKC beads. They're both the same. The only difference is the colour, so I'm using two different colours. One here is a light blue, and that's Matte Aqua AB, and then I'm using a Matte Opaque Cobalt AB as well. So this is just my choices. You can obviously do whatever colour combinations that you want to, and you could also even use more colours than just two. So also you then need your findings, so I have my Kumihimo ends here to finish off the braid, and then obviously whatever clasp you want to use. I've got jump rings, extender chain, and my lobster claw clasp. So let's get it all together and let's get started. And then we'll need some lengths of cord here. So what I have is 4 lengths of my Eslon of about 1 meter each, and then I put all the ends together like that, and then I folded all this over in half. So again, put all the ends together to find roughly where the middle is, and then tie a regular overhand knot just to keep hold of the middle and also keep the cords together. Then around that I've just tied a piece of scrap wire here. You can also use a Kumihimo weight or anything that you have really. So this is what we then need to use, and they're going to get doubled over, so each length of cord is going to turn into 2 working lengths, and we then need to attach this to our disc. And this is then how I've set up my cords on my disc here. So I've taken that knot with the piece of wire down through the center of the disc, and it comes out towards the back. And then I've distributed my cords like this, so I'm not worried about the numbers in this case. I've just put 1 length of cord on each side of every dot there, all the way around the disc. And then the first thing I want to do is make a little section of the braid here before I start adding in the beads. So I'm just going to start with the top left one. I'm going to release that, bring that down, stay on the left side of the bottom pair. Then I'm going to take the bottom right one and bring that up and stay on the right side. So that's the first pair, and then I'm going to turn my disc a quarter, and then again take the top left one, bring that down, and then the bottom right one and bring that up, and then turn my disc again. And then I want to make a little braid like this, just continuing, for about 1 to 2 centimeters. So now that I made my little section of braid here, you can see it's coming out of the back, then it's now time to start adding on the beads. So this is how I've then set up the beads here and all the lengths of cord. What I've also done is taken a picture of this setup and I put that on my website. So if you need to have a bit of a closer look and also some description of the bead setup here, then I'll put a link to that down in the description box below, so you can go and have a look at that. But then otherwise I'm also just going to go through it here. So what I'm going to do is start with my top left cord on the disc, because that's the one that I'm due to take next. So on that one, what we have is 7 light blue, 9 dark blue, 4 light blue, 9 dark blue, 4 light blue, and then a finish on 6 dark blues. And then as for the right one out of the top 2 cords there, what we start out with is 9 light blue, then we have 4 dark blue, 9 light blue, 4 dark blue, 9 light blue, and then also in here what we finish with is then 4 dark blue. And then moving on to the right side of the disc, so the top one here is next, what we have is 4 light blue, 9 dark blue, 4 light blue, 9 dark blue, 4 light blue, and then we end on 9 dark blue. And then moving on to the bottom one out of the 2 on the side here, what we start out with is 6 light blue in this case, then we have 4 dark blue, 9 light blue, 4 dark blue, 9 light blue again, and then we finish on this one with 7 dark blues. Then the bottom right card down here on the disc, we have 7 light blue, 9 dark blue, 4 light blue, 9 dark blue again, then 4 light blue, and then we end on 6 dark blues on here. And the left one out of these two, we start with 9 light blue, then we have 4 dark blue, 9 light blue again, 4 dark blue, and 9 light blue, and then it ends on 4 dark blue. And then moving on to the side of the disc here, so the bottom one on the left side, we start out with 4 light blue, 9 dark blue, 4 light blue, 9 dark blue again, and 4 light blue, and then we also end on 9 dark blue. And the very final card here, so the top one of these two, we have 6 light blue, then we have 4 dark blue, 9 light blue, 4 dark blue again, we have 9 light blue, and here we end on 7 dark blue. So this is then the bead setup if you start with the same card as me, so that's the top left there. So if you either start with the top left or the bottom right, because those two are the same result you're going to get, you need to set up your beads like this. But if you start with either the top right or the bottom left, you'll need to just set up your beads a bit differently. And what you'll have to do is basically set up this bead setup here in a mirror image to this. So imagine that you're holding a mirror in front of the disc, and then you need to set up beads in that mirror image. So that means that the top two here would swap over, the positioning of the beads, then the bottom two would swap over with each other, so just swapping to the other side of the dots there. Then the side ones, the top two, so the top one on each side, need to swap over the middle, like that, and swap over with each other, and the bottom two also need to swap over the middle there. Again, this is just the positioning of the beads, obviously not the cards themselves, and that's then to get it to be the same pattern if you work in the opposite way than I do. And then I also just want to mention regarding the colours of the beads here. So I'm obviously using the light blue and the dark blue. That's just as an example to show you this ombre effect and the blending kind of between the colours. You could really use whatever colours you want to. So obviously just change them out. So if you just want to use two colours still, just swap all the dark blue ones out for another colour and the light blue ones for another colour that you would like. But you could also use more colours than this. This is just using the two as a basic. So what you would want to do is, if you want to use more colours, all you need to do is decide where you want that colour. Because you can see here, it's basically the same all the way. We start with the light blue, and they all start with that. So they're all going to be the very beginning of the braid. And then the next ones there are kind of the same as well. So the second batch of colours, they are the dark blues. So you could go through and basically swap them out with whatever colour you want to. So all the beginning ones are the light blue. Then the next ones in are the dark blue, choose another colour, and then the next ones are the light blue all the way, choose another colour. And that'll give you the same result of the effect of the blending between the ombre, but you can just swap them for whatever colours that you want to. So you don't have to just stick with two colours here. This is just an example. But now that we then have all the beads in place here, what we need to do is start adding them into the braid as we continue. So all we want to do is continue the braid the exact same way that we were doing just when we made the little first section there without the beads. So I'm going to take my top left card, because that's the one that I'm due to take next, but then as I'm releasing the card here from the disc, I'm also going to just drop down the very first bead that I have attached to them. So release the card and let the first bead, just that one, drop all the way down into the middle, and then you need to make sure that it just tucks under the cards in the middle there. So if it doesn't do it by itself, just tuck it in with your fingers, because that's how the bead ends up on the outside of the braid, and that's what we want for this design. Then I take my bottom right one, release one bead as I'm releasing my card, let it drop all the way down, and just make sure to tuck it in and bring it over. And then turn your disc to the next pair and do exactly the same. So basically every time we're now moving a card, we're just releasing and dropping down one bead. And that's how we get that beaded effect on the outside of the braid. So just keep doing this until you used up all your beads. So I'm now done using all the beads here. You can see I don't have any more left. Now what I want to do is make another little section of braid here at this end, just like we did at the beginning, to finish it off here. So all I'm going to do is continue the braid in the exact same way, just then without adding in any beads. And what you'll find is that the braid here, the cords in the middle, will kind of naturally singe in, And then again, just do this for about 1 to 2 centimeters so we have something to finish off the braid with. So now that I've made my little section of braid here, what I'm going to do is to secure the end in place so I can take the whole braid off the board, because I want to make sure obviously as I take it off the braid itself isn't going to start unraveling and coming undone. So what I'm going to do is the last pair that I did use with this one, so I'm going to take the pair that I was due to do next if I was going to continue. Then I want to take cords that are diagonally opposite each other, so these two here, bring them across the middle and just tie a knot. Like that, and then tighten this down so it sits right at the end of the braid there. Then I'm going to take the two from the same pair, the other two that are diagonally opposite each other, and then tie that knot across the middle. Then move around to the other pair and just do the exact same thing. And I'm just doing this, like I said, to secure the braid so we can take it off the board, but also so it doesn't add too much bulk to the end here. So if we just took it off and tied a knot with all the cords together, that would be too bulky, and not to be able to put it into the Kumihimo ends that I'm going to be using. So I just prefer to do it this way, just like that. So now we can take the disc away, and then you have your braid. Now obviously these are just individual knots, so you don't want to mess too much with it because they will come undone, but for now it holds alright. Because then what we need to do now is finish off the ends of the braid. And then you can see here, this is then what the braid looks like. So just using these blue colour in this case as an example, but you get this really nice kind of ombre effect where the colours also blend together. So this is it. So like I said, now we need to finish off the ends. So that means on this end I'm just going to take off my length of wire, and then that end is ready. And then on here, what I'm going to do is put a bit of glue around these ends first of all. In this case, I've got this glue here, it's Tiger Bond. It's a glue that I've started using recently, trying it out, and so far I'm quite liking it. Normally I use E6000, which I will still use, but I'm just trying out a new one here because I kind of like the way it sounds. So all I do is take my glue, whatever glue it is you choose to use, and I put it around the ends where all the cords are coming out from these knots that we made. And again, this is just to keep it securely in place, and then because I want to be able to get rid of the excess cord obviously, so we can then fit the end of the braid here inside of the Kumihimo end. So just put glue all around it so that we can then, once it's dried, go in and cut off the excess without worrying about the knots coming undone and the braid starting to come undone. So that's what this glue is for. So like that. Now you can see here right now this glue is white, but it actually, when it dries, it does dry completely clear, that I've found. So that is not a problem. And so far I'm quite liking this glue. Like I said, it's also really nice and strong. So I'm just going to leave this to dry, cut off the excess of the cord, so you also have this end ready to finish it off. And then I'm going to use these Kumihimo ends, and again use the same glue to attach each to the ends there. Then you use them to attach your findings, so whatever clasp you want to use, and obviously let your glue dry. Then once you've done that, then you'll have your finished braid. Now if you're not sure how to do this more specifically, I do have a tutorial where I show in more detail how to do it, so that might be helpful. I'll put a link to that in the description box below, but otherwise just finish off the ends and then you'll have your finished braid. So now that I've then finished off the ends on my braid here, then here's then the finished bracelet, and it looks a little something like this. And obviously just use your clasp to close it up. So you have this nice ombre effect between the colours, but also the blending together gently at the same time. So this is what it looks like. Obviously you can use whatever colours that you want to achieve the effect you want. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you very much for watching. Hello there everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make this American flag beaded Kumihimo bracelet. And it looks like this. So you have both your star seed stripes there to represent the American flag. So if you want to learn how to make this, then stay tuned. So these are the things that we'll need. Now I've got my round Kumihimo disc here because we're making a round braid. And then as for the beads, I'm using 6/0 seed beads, and these are also 4mm ones.